to use starts now.
Weather is warming, but what about the housing market? Whether you're buying or selling, Fox 2 is working for you. This is Hale Walker, Senior Vice President of First Preferred Mortgage, here talking about why it's a good time to buy and perhaps a good time to sell. So, Hale, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dina.
You know, we joke that the houses that we live in now, my neighbors and I, we're going to live there forever because we're never going to get back to the value that they once were. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's going to take some time. Obviously, especially in the state of Michigan, we've gone through the housing bubble bursting. We've gone through, disaster in the financing market, and we've also lost population. So there's certainly a lot of pressure on pricing. So if somebody is selling, they've got to be cognizant of that. But there are certainly other things that they can do to, really help prepare their home for
Okay,
sales.
so let's first talk to the home buyers, why this is a good time to buy. And I was talking to a realtor friend recently who said she says she's selling houses like crazy. So certainly it continues to be a buyer's market, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now the tax incentives are gone, they're done. But there are some other incentives that make it a good time to buy other than the low cost of the houses. So let's talk about those.
Certainly. If somebody hasn't taken advantage of that first-time home buyer credit, they really haven't lost out on all the incentives. There are programs today in which somebody still can put as little as $0 down to be able to purchase a home. It's not going to be open to everybody. It's going to have some effect on where they're located, but $0 down to very little down certainly can be done.
And what about our interest rates right now?
Well, that's very interesting because the interest rates are as competitive as we have seen for years. You're really on a 30-year fixed mortgage, you're in the high 4% range.
Okay, yeah.
But the other thing that we're seeing is like no other time we're seeing sellers get more and more involved in financing for buyers to make their home a little bit more unique. So we've seen sellers actually get involved in the financing so that they can maybe pay the points and buy the borrower a lower interest rate. And incentives like that are really, we're seeing more and more.
So we're getting creative.
Exactly, and they need to get creative.
All right, let's talk about if you do want to sell your house. I know a lot of people shudder at the thought. What can you do? First of all, you have to accept the fact that it has to go for fair market value, right? You're not going to get what you paid for.
Yep, if you are overpriced, when the financing takes place and the appraisal is done, you're going to have a problem at that time. So somebody has to realize exactly, and they've got to be very competitive in the pricing of the home. But then I would urge a seller to be creative. They've got to get involved and figure out, how can I make this home a unique proposition for the buyer? And that can be done rather than discounting the price of the house. Maybe somebody does get involved in the financing. Maybe they pay the closing costs for the borrower. The borrower is prepared to borrow $200,000, but their challenge is they don't have the money to be able to come up with for a down payment or paying discount points, closing costs, and the seller can participate in those type of things. So they need to sit down with their mortgage professional as much as a borrower does to be able to put together a strategy.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole new idea. It's really working hand in hand with the person who's buying your house.
And if we're going to be successful in selling them, you're absolutely right, we have to.
Huh, all right, very good. All right, good advice. Would you, if people come and say, I'm thinking this is buyer's market, and I want to buy this bigger house down the block, but I'm never going to be able to sell mine, what do you say? In other words, should you wait it out a little bit?
I wouldn't wait it out. You and myself, our friends, we are all going to be kicking ourselves if we don't take advantage of this. I don't think that we're going to see a housing market price like this in our lifetime again. So I would say whether it's a first-time home buyer, whether it's somebody moving up, or if it's a retiree moving down, I would encourage them to go through the investigative process to see what needs to happen for their financing and to be able to see what they can do to be able to make a move, because this is perfect timing.
All right, good advice. Hale Walker, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right.